Hey there, and welcome. Sometimes a single image can hold an entire story, a mystery that's just waiting for someone to unravel it. Well, today, we're going to put on our detective hats and decode a really fascinating piece of art to see what narrative is hiding in plain sight. Let's dive right in. Okay, so here it is. This is our central mystery. Set against this really vibrant, textured yellow background, we've got two completely different visual ideas going on. Up top, something structured, sharp, and down below, something flowing and organic. So the big question is, what connects them? What's the story being told here? The best way to solve a puzzle is to look at the evidence, piece by piece. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct this image, examine each element, and see what secrets they might reveal. Ready? Our investigation starts now. First things first, let's draw our attention to the top of the frame. This is our first piece of evidence, this really strong, imposing symbol that immediately catches your eye. Just look at the qualities of this shape for a second. It's built with these strong, confident lines. It's almost perfectly symmetrical, which creates this feeling of balance and order. And it has this kind of trident-like structure, right? With three distinct points reaching upward from a solid horizontal base. So how do we translate those visual traits into actual ideas? Well, symmetry often suggests stability, maybe even control. Those upward-pointing arrows can imply a sense of direction, purpose, perhaps ambition. And that solid base feels so grounded, so unshakable. When you put all that together, the symbol just gives off this feeling of authority, of structure, maybe even power. Okay, so we've analyzed the top. Now let's shift our focus down to the bottom and see how this creates a pretty stark contrast. We're looking at a completely different visual language at work here. Yeah, see? Unlike the rigid geometry up top, these forms are fluid and dynamic. They look less like they were constructed and more like they were written, with the natural, elegant movement of a brush. There's a real calligraphic quality to this, a sense of life and motion. So what do these qualities suggest to us? The fluid, organic nature feels connected to the natural world, or maybe human expression. The asymmetry gives it a feeling of spontaneity. And those expressive, brush-like strokes, they strongly suggest some form of language, or a story being told, or maybe even a kind of elegant, dancing movement. And this comparison really lays out the central tension in this piece, doesn't it? On one side, you have rigidity and authority. On the other, fluidity and expression. It's the symmetrical versus the organic, a powerful dialogue between two opposing forces. But the story isn't quite complete yet. There's one more clue. In any good investigation, there's always that breakthrough moment, that single piece of evidence that completely reframes everything you thought you knew. And in this image, that clue has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And there it is, nestled right there between the top and bottom forms, a single word written in green: Chinese. Now, this isn't just a label. This is an anchor. It's the key that grounds our entire interpretation in a very specific cultural context. This is a crucial point. A contextual clue like this word changes how we see everything else. The symbols are no longer just abstract shapes. They become a potential commentary on or an expression of something related to Chinese culture, history, or identity. It gives our whole investigation a clear direction. All right, we now have all our evidence on the table: the symbol of power, the script of expression, and the cultural anchor. It's time to build a cohesive narrative. So let's recap our journey. We started with a symbol that suggested authority, maybe tradition. Then we explored the flowing script below it, which speaks of language, culture, and expression. And finally, the word Chinese came in and connected these two opposing ideas, suggesting a story about the relationship between structure and culture, or perhaps power and people, all within that specific context. Ultimately, the meaning here isn't found in just one element. It's born from the contrast, the dialogue, and the space between the rigid and the fluid. The tension is the story. It's a conversation between two fundamental forces. So now let's look at the image one last time. It's no longer just a collection of abstract marks on a yellow background, is it? We can now see it as a story about contrast, culture, and connection, all through a new, more informed lens. And that's really the beauty of art. Our investigation provides one possible reading, but it is by no means the only one. Art's real job is to make us think. So I'll leave you with this question. Having seen all the clues, what story do you see now? Thanks for joining the investigation.